Welcome, everybody, to the Loud and Drunk podcast. I'm producer Dan, joined always by Moses. Moses, you're actually going to be the Love-matic Moses in this episode because we're going to be talking dating. You know, Justin just got engaged, so you're the only one that's actually married. So we get to bask in your sage wisdom in this field. Do you have a sneak preview of that wisdom?
It's all quite easy because if you're male, you're always wrong. If you're female, you're always right. In those gay situations, I don't really know how that works out. But
you're both wrong.
Yeah, you're both wrong and right. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's simple.
Nice.
But it takes a lot of work.
Justin, this is our 15th episode. Ooh. We started off when we were doing this, you know, to work on our podcasting skills.
Oh, the dark days.
Yeah, we were starting this as a movie type of podcast.
We tried.
So I figured this is a good time where we can actually play a movie game.
I am so excited to play a movie, actor, whatever the case is, game, because it might give you weird insights to all of our shitty personalities.
That's very fair.
And I can't wait to be exposed.
I am like Jesse Spano right now.
Shut the fuck
up.
up.
Excited. So excited.
And I am Oakley Gunner, and I'm just happy to be here.
Oakley, thank you for coming in this week. We appreciate it.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you, Moses. I appreciate it. There's a lot of hand gesturing going on. I'm not sure what it means, but
it's an audio medium.
My trigger finger is injured.
Oh,
I get it. It's a play on my name.
I got a boo-boo.
Yeah, I'm offended.
Good.
But before we get into your complete offense, I want to encourage you to subscribe to this podcast. We are on Apple, Google, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts. Help us out by giving us a 5-star review. We are also on YouTube and Rumble, so be sure to smash that like button, leave us a comment, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to our channels. We want you to be a part of this conversation, and it's going to be a fun conversation. So join us on social media. We are at Loud and Drunk on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Locals. While you're at Locals, consider contributing to us on Locals so, you know, we can actually make this a visual medium instead of just audio only. As I teased at the beginning, we're going to play a little movie game. Get the juices flowing because,
I like it. I like it. I'm so excited.
I love when my juices flow.
I know you do, Mr. Oakley. So,
we have squeegees, right?
So, the nature of this game.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you 5 actors. You have to eliminate one from history. All of his work, big or small. So if he plays like a 2-bit part in a movie that's actually genuinely good, that movie gets erased.
The whole movie?
The whole movie from history.
Oh, wow. All right. That's fucked up.
You have to come up with one name of these 5 actors. These are not nobodies. These are major action movie stars.
Okay. I'm sorry, but the whole movie. So if they were just in it. All right.
If he's just in it.
God damn.
He's
I was prepared for something way easier.
If he's in an episode of a TV show, that episode, gone.
All right.
But the TV show remains.
The TV show will remain because it's only just one episode. Yeah, we'll just skip that episode. But we can take that into account when we make our decisions.
Right, okay.
Yeah, okay.
If you want me to go through their filmography, I can do that. I'll probably, while I read their names, tell you like their greatest hits. But if you're curious, if you're like, was he in that movie? I can look that up for you.
Cool.
Okay.
All right. Name number 1, Harrison Ford.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, he's out. Done. Kill him. I don't even give a shit about that.
They should
What are we
build the
losing,
whole-
like fucking Firewall?
You're losing your whole college career.
Oh, what? Archaeology?
Yes.
Ah, no. He's done. I don't care about that.
Actor number 2, Mel Gibson.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I like Mad Max.
Yeah, and Lethal Weapon's good.
Actor number 3, Sylvester Stallone.
You gotta keep him.
Yeah.
He was in that prison movie where they were underwater or something.
Lockdown.
Lockdown,
right?
yeah.
Is that really the name of it?
I think that's what it was.
I'm glad that's the movie you guys brought up on his career.
Yeah, none of the great films that he was in.
He was in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, yeah, briefly, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I don't know what else he's done.
All
but
right.
Nice.
Continue.
Actor number 4, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Okay.
You know he's not getting tossed. Every movie that he makes is gold.
Yeah.
That's not even fair to put him on there.
And the 5th and final actor, Bruce Willis.
I knew that was coming. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we got like the action movie stars of the 80s paradigm going here. 80s,
Yeah.
90s. Interesting. Okay.
So, while you guys think about it for a second,
Yeah,
I'll
please.
read off to the audience, you know, some of their greatest hits.
Absolutely.
Obviously, Harrison Ford, Indiana Jones, Star Wars.
He was in those?
Yes. You also have Blade Runner, and then you have movies like Patriot Games and Clear and Present Danger. And one of my personal favorites, The Fugitive.
Yeah, The Fugitive's good.
You do love that film.
And then we have Mel Gibson, obviously, from the Lethal Weapon movies, said before, Mad Max movies. Also, was what
The
direct
Patriot.
Passion of the Christ.
Passion of the Christ. Also, I wanted to mention this too because he also dabbled in romantic and drama movies.
Yes.
He was in Forever Young and Man Without a Face.
Also, Women
I do
Want.
remember that.
Braveheart.
What Women Want, I remember, yeah.
Braveheart is
It's another
a big
rom-com.
one. And
Yeah.
and also We Were Soldiers, which was
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That was a movie.
That
was
fucking
existed.
mustard gas scene at the beginning.
I thought it was just like a romance between men.
Yeah,
Wasn't it
but-
like a Brokeback Mountain?
Keep it. Let him keep it moving.
And then we got Sylvester Stallone, obviously from Rocky and Rambo. Did movies like Tango and Cash.
Yep.
Dang, that's good. That's good. I love that one.
Cobra, Over the Top.
Over the top, man.
Yeah.
Cliffhanger, Demolition Man. Just those movies.
We're keeping Sylvester Stallone just because of Demolition Man.
And then we have Arnold Schwarzenegger, obviously the Terminator movies, Predator,
So many.
Running Man, Total Recall,
True Lies.
True Lies,
Last Action
Action
Hero.
Hero.
Last Action
Get
Hero.
the fuck out of my head, Moses.
Nah, I live here now.
And then we got Bruce Willis, Die Hard. So
And Moonlighting.
I like that it stops right there. Moonlighting. Oh, that's a hard dig.
Also, The Fifth Element. Let's be fair.
That's
Fifth
a
Element,
great
sure.
film.
Yeah.
That's a great film.
everyone's got a
I will
sneaky
never
one.
erase that film ever, and if anyone tries to, I will fight you.
All right. So, interesting tidbit about all of these actors, and this is what we'll call this bracket if we ever want to do this game again.
Yeah.
Every single one has been in The Expendables.
Yes.
Oh, wow. All right. That makes
Harrison
sense.
Ford was in that?
What's that?
Harrison Ford was in The
He was in the
Expendables?
third one.
Third one.
He
yeah.
needed the money.
Did he?
Yeah, Firewall doesn't pay the bills for very long.
Oh, that's
Dan,
true.
I gotta say, this is when you actually really think about it, because each one has like a niche kind of like shitty movie that I love.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm losing by getting rid of Mel Gibson, though. Like, I do enjoy Mad Max and Road Warrior, and I enjoy The
Lethal
Patriot because
Weapons.
it's stupid as shit. Lethal Weapon is legitimately good, but I don't fucking care. There's a million movies just like
what
that.
about Maverick?
What about Maverick? What about that? What you want to like fucking lay? Is
Oh,
that
it was
across
great
your
because
dial?
it had a cameo of Danny Glover in it.
You could just
It
watch
did.
Danny Glover. In
Yeah,
another
but it
movie.
doesn't mean anything if he's not saying I'm too old for this shit, which would be erased if
Didn't
we
he
got
say
rid of
that
Mel
in
Gibson.
Predator 2 like a million times?
In what?
Predator 2?
Yes.
Did he? Yeah, I don't know.
I'm absolutely sure that he did.
Yeah, why not?
And if he didn't, get fucked, he did.
Yeah, I imagined it because I like to watch it drunk.
fair.
Yeah.
It was Predator 2, though.
Yeah.
I'll put on Maverick first.
You have terrible
Wow.
taste. Who was that? Oh, Harrison Ford? No, I could
No.
lose him too. Yeah. No, I know
Harrison
who we're
Ford?
talking about. Thank you.
I could get rid of Harrison Ford, honestly.
So I like that we're talking this out because I'm having a rough time with this because I thought I had an easy answer and then I remembered a niche movie that is completely dumb, but I'd miss it if it was gone. All right, if I could be so bold as to submit my choice,
Yes.
I think I'm going Stallone.
Going Stallone.
But
Interesting.
over the top.
I know.
That's a switch.
I waited
You
it
are
out.
wearing a switch on your
I
head
waited
right now.
out. I waited out. It's just he doesn't have he has some good ones for me, but like
Over the top?
Over the top.
Demolition Man.
Yes, that's also there, but it's like no, that's my choice. I feel confident in that choice.
If
for
you
myself.
get rid of him, though, how many movies do we have about arm wrestling as a central theme? And that's my major
I don't
concern.
think any others.
I believe that we're good. That's a tangent that we can follow a little bit later.
very
but,
unrepresented
we
in
got to
that.
stick with the parameters we have at hand. So who's next?
I'm gonna say Mel Gibson
Okay.
I'm gonna second that. Yeah.
because Harrison Ford is gonna be in the new Marvel movies now, and I need those.
Oh, you're such a bitch.
So that's
You're
why
such
right
a
there.
bitch.
But Mel Gibson, I don't think he's ever touching that. So
Mel Gibson, I vote for because most of his films are terrible. He's not a good actor, and he's kind of a shitty person. So I feel
Yeah.
like, I mean, I'm really not losing a lot with that. His big claim to fame is Braveheart, which I honestly didn't ever really care about that much. The best part is when he gets tortured to death at the end.
the gore of it was
But you got to get through
fun of it.
3 hours of
Yeah.
him just being over the top and makeup and whatever the fuck he's doing.
over the top again.
If I could just add a quick interjection, because I do love Braveheart, it would be very sad for it to go. But Braveheart shines for me for everybody but him.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
the-
it's good.
the rest
Yeah,
of the-
I'll
yeah,
agree with
yeah.
that. Yeah, yeah. I think that he did like some other little odds and ends. I do enjoy Road Warrior, but like if that wasn't made, it would have just been somebody else doing it.
I feel like Braveheart too. Somebody else would be doing it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like Jason Statham would have just came into play way earlier than he ever did.
Well, that makes me wish that he was around. So.
That's who would have been. That's who's filling in for Mel Gibson if he
He
goes.
was too busy doing tumbling and diving at the time.
Yeah.
And the odd music video.
No, I would still stick with Harrison Ford and Mel Gibson because I couldn't give up on Over the Top. Schwarzenegger's obviously not going.
Oh, just because of Batman.
Yeah, that's where we go with that.
That's where I'm going with that. Because,
Batman and Robin. That's right. Yeah. What was that? A Bat Mastercard? Never leave the cave without it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm
a little sick with myself for saying that out loud.
When it comes to Arnie, True Lies is one of my favorite movies ever.
True Lies was a good movie.
Yeah,
And
that,
yet-
like that. Was it Jamie Lee Curtis? Was
Jamie Lee-
like a sexual awakening?
Yeah.
in
They
that
tried
movie.
to pass her. That's one of the things that I actually hate, and I do love the film.
Yeah.
But they tried to pass off Jamie Lee Curtis in this sexual way.
Yeah.
And she looks like a 12-year-old boy, which is not attractive to me as a straight man who doesn't want to bang children. But that's absolutely what she is. So I have very mixed feelings about that one.
It's a weird allegory.
Yeah,
there.
it's just like I would have said the Tom Arnold part of it, but all right, you know.
So, guys, let me tell you when I was thinking about this,
Yes, please.
where I was going to go with this initially.
Sure.
I was not going to attack this with any rhyme or reason. I was just gunning to get rid of the Star Wars movies. I wanted to do everything I could to just get rid of Harrison Ford. I love The Fugitive.
Yeah,
I don't have
but-
any particular problem with the rest of his work. I just wanted to get, like, I like the
You'll
Indiana
take
Jones
that
movies.
bayonet, and
but
I appreciate
just,
about that.
But Empire, then. Empire is the good one.
I just wanted Star Wars to go away. But then I looked into his filmography.
Yeah.
And there's a movie that I was actually thinking that Mr. Oakley over there was going to go Harrison Ford, and then perhaps I would have to tell him about this. Harrison Ford is in Apocalypse Now.
That's right.
Oh my God, you're absolutely right. He's in. I know exactly where it is. Yeah, it's in the scene where he's initially getting the mission. That's
Yes.
right. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so once I saw that,
I reversed my decision.
I can't, in good conscience,
Yeah,
as
I love that
badly
film.
as I want to get rid of Star Wars, get rid of those, like, even if Empire is a good movie, I just want to get rid of the series in general.
I would suffer through 1,000 Air Force Ones and firewalls before I would get rid of Apocalypse Now.
Absolutely. That's what I was thinking.
I
That's
do
fair.
appreciate your zeal.
And so I had to go because I'll break it down. I can't get rid of Sylvester Stallone. I love the Rocky movies.
Okay.
Like 1 through 4 are very good. 4,
You're pronouncing over the top wrong.
Well, we forgot to mention Death Race 2000.
Death
Oh,
Race
yeah,
2000.
absolutely,
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
I'm going to be honest, I didn't
Stallone's gotta
consider that.
stay.
Yeah,
I
Machine
forgot
Gun
about
Joe.
And that was going to be another thing. If you tried to get rid of Stallone,
I never would.
Yeah, that's when I was going to be like, do you not know the picture in your bathroom?
Oh yeah, no, I believe me, believe me.
such a
Machine
hard
Gun
choice.
Joe is my hero.
I love how we haven't talked about Bruce Willis at all.
Well,
we never
we'll get to- we'll
gave
get-
him a thought.
Well, he wouldn't remember it if we talked about him anyway.
Aw, too soon, man.
I could never get rid of Schwarzenegger because
No.
Terminator 1,
No.
2, Total
Yeah.
Recall,
So
The
many,
Predator,
just so
Running
many
Man.
great moments.
Kindergarten Cop, that's
Cop,
fair.
yeah.
Yeah.
But when I was looking at their filmographies, like especially Stallone, Schwarzenegger, and Bruce Willis, I'm like,
Yeah.
you could have just canceled their entire work like after 1991,
Yeah.
and it wouldn't have mattered,
Right.
Yeah.
Because all of their good movies are like in maybe the 70s, but definitely the 80s, and
80s
90s.
for sure.
it would have
Yeah,
mattered
early
to
90s.
Bruce Willis because he's the one that went through a divorce.
Oh, well.
So Demi Moore got a lot of that cash.
As much shit as I give the Die Hard movies, because I'm particularly angry about how Die Hard 2 does not go into Die Hard 3 at all. It makes no sense.
It is the redheaded stepchild of the movies.
That's not my favorite.
No.
Well,
Of the three.
I like Die Hard 2. I just don't like how Die Hard 3 begins completely
completely,
like
yes.
on a different page. Like,
Isn't that's with a Vengeance or whatever?
yes, that's the
Yes.
one with Sam Jackson.
Same Jackson. yeah,
That's
yeah.
a great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, love
And
it.
Jeremy Irons.
I can't.
Jeremy Irons, yeah.
But they do that hokey, like he's the brother of the bad guy
Hans
from Hans
yeah,
Gruber.
Yeah.
The first
He's Hans Gruber's brother.
Yeah, so it's like that's kind of tacky, but I just don't like the ending of Die Hard 2 is he saves his wife again. He transferred to LA to
Yes.
become a cop to make the marriage work.
Right.
The beginning of
That's
Die,
how you make a marriage
Yeah.
work. On the note of dating.
Die Hard 3 starts with him a raging alcoholic.
Alcoholic.
He's back in New York,
York.
and he's definitely divorced by now.
It's
And I'm like,
just-
what happened between the two movies?
You know what happened. He moved
just-
back to LA to blah, 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 blah. And then,
No, it's
here we
just
are.
another. It's another part of the Last Boy Scout.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow. Wow.
You.
Well, that's a great movie.
That's why
Yeah.
I have the theory that the timeline diverged
Yes.
in between
Oh, no.
Die Hard
Yeah,
2 and
it's a
Die
different
Hard 3.
universe.
Yeah, Die Hard did
Yeah.
it way before Marvel.
And then also, of course, you have The Fifth Element. He was also in Beavis and Butthead
right.
Do America.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't remember that. All right.
So he's got a few in
You
there.
can't get rid of the fifth element. That's a unique
that would be
great
cutting a
fucking
part
movie.
out of my heart to get rid of the fifth element.
That'd be cutting a part out of my vocabulary. Just like reciting lines from that.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah.
And I don't even think he's great in that
Never
movie,
watched
but
it,
that
so
movie's
doesn't matter
great.
to me.
Yeah. And you
It
have
could
to
exist. I don't care.
Now, when going through Mel Gibson's body of work,
Yeah.
my only real thing was like, I like the Lethal Weapon movies, but they're a dime a dozen.
Right.
So like, you can just get a buddy cop.
I was going to say, it's a buddy cop movie.
Progenitor buddy cop.
Nick Nolte and Eddie Murphy were doing it.
I mean, Point
48
Break.
hours?
Point Break. 48 hours.
Yeah.
But here's the one thing that kind of gave me a point to think about it. He was in The Simpsons.
Yeah.
He was in that episode Beyond Blunderdome.
Yep.
But it's not necessarily
That doesn't-
a
see,
good
that's-
episode.
You run it. See, this is
only get rid of
why
the
I feel
episode,
like that you get rid of the entirety of the filmography. It's problematic because everybody was on The Simpsons at some point.
Yeah.
No?
Well, I mean, it doesn't look like these other guys were.
Oh, God damn it.
I mean, they got somebody already,
So
Hank Azaria
smug, too,
doing
Jen.
Arnold's voice, so they don't need to get Arnold.
Yeah. Yeah, they have McBain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stallone, I don't think he would ever do it.
No.
He's a little.
They took too many shots at Stallone on Futurama and the
Futurama,
critic for ever him to show up on any Mac Raining.
Well,
or,
they did that with Mel Gibson too on the critics.
yeah.
Yeah, Dan, you really put us, at least for me, a very tough one. Because, like, each one has something I have some affinity for. And, like, that I'd really hate. No, and they're not good. Usually my affinity for something is for a really trashy, dumb fucking movie.
Yeah.
And
I got to rule out Harrison Ford, though, just because of that point that was made.
And here's another thing that I was considering, because I do kind of like Braveheart, but it's insufferably long.
It's insufferably long.
Yeah.
But and if you compare it, like, which one would you rather get rid of? Do you want to get rid of Apocalypse Now or Braveheart?
All right, so I have a fundamental question then.
Okay.
So we're getting rid of their filmography.
Yes.
I need a little context. Do I still remember it? Can we still talk about it? Or is
okay.
this like banned
No,
for
no,
forever?
we're not doing
like we
this.
have to talk about it in secret kind of thing?
It's not so much that it's banned; it's just that it's erased.
A race.
It never
so
happened.
you don't remember it even fucking happening.
Yeah.
So I can't miss it then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
That's another wrinkle.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes it a little easier. If I don't
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
it, it's like,
definitely,
get rid of it, you know.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I still really love Apocalypse Now, so keeping that one.
I can never give up Apocalypse Now. I can never give up Fifth Element.
These are positive influences in my life. I could lose
What did
The
I say? I
Simpsons
said
as much as I
Stallone?
enjoy it. Yeah.
Did you say Stallone?
I think I did.
I can't get rid of Death Race, though.
No, I can't. And like I
great
said, I
movie.
forgot about Death Race.
Yeah. I never forget that he's in it. I think that's his first movie after porn.
What was the shining point for Harrison Ford again?
Oh,
That's Apocalypse, yeah.
even though he's got a bit
that's
part
right,
in it,
Apocalypse.
it's really funny that he's just got a bit part in it. And
God,
Well, he was just starting.
He
at the
does a
time,
good
yeah.
job in that scene, though. It's a pretty. I mean, it's a small bit part, but it's great.
It would be like if we were doing this with Bryan Cranston and we
Yeah.
roped him into like Saving Private
Yeah,
Ryan.
right.
Like, you're in it for a
Yeah.
scene, buddy.
Yeah. But it's a great scene.
You were just standing there on set.
Remind me. We got Harrison Ford. We got Stallone. We got Schwarzenegger, who's never going. We're not.
Yeah, he's off the table.
He's safe, and so is Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis. Who was the fifth one?
Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
Mel Gibson.
I'm getting rid of Mel Gibson
I
and
think
Bruce
it comes
Willis.
down to
I'm
Mel
getting rid of
for
Mel
me.
Gibson.
How many do I have to get rid of? Just one?
Just the one. Just the one.
My vote's for Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson. Yeah, fuck
in
him.
retrospect, I switched my vote to Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
So it is unanimous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if I had a gavel, I would.
Yep.
Right
There's
now.
nothing stopping you, Dan, at any moment.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
Go back and
all
get that
got
law
rid
degree.
of. we
And not
all
for
got
nothing, of the people mentioned, he deserves this the most.
Yeah.
Come on, he never ran for governor of California.
I mean, that's true, but he is a total piece of shit.
Yeah, I think Mel Gibson gets it.
Mel Gibson.
Because you know what? I can give up those early Mad Max movies because Fury Road was dope as fuck.
Fury Road was great.
Yeah.
Would
Absolutely.
Fury Road be in existence if that wasn't because it's a remake?
No, but same director though. He could have told that story.
Yeah, we would have
okay.
just gotten somebody
Was it the same
different.
director?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's what my thought process was for getting rid of Star Wars. If you
Yeah.
get rid of those first, the original
don't get it.
trilogy,
Hey, you
Get
can
rid
see
of
Dan's
everything.
disappointment.
then you get rid of the prequels, and then Harrison Ford's also in the first Disney movie of Star Wars, so the whole sequel trilogy wouldn't have happened. It's all gone.
Honestly, that-
and I'm so gleeful at the thought of
That
it.
sequel
but I
trilogy-
I can't because of Apocalypse
Apocalypse
Now.
Now.
Because he's in it for like, what, 5 minutes.
At best. At best.
It's a solid 5
Oh,
minutes.
that's such a sneaky fuck. Oh, Jesus Christ.
I wasn't going to vote for him just because of the Marvel shit.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
what
we
I
all
figured.
heard you the first time.
He was good for me.
That's what I figured. You
I
wouldn't
also
get rid of
enjoy Star
Stallone
Wars.
either because he was also in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. That third one really tore me up.
But I mean, really, what it came down for me is that the realization that you guys brought up, which I'm so pissed at myself for forgetting, but Death Race.
Yeah,
I
that's
can't
a
get rid of that. I
phenomenal
can't get rid
film.
of that
Death
movie.
Race 2000. What is that? 1976.
76, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great guy.
It's because as bad of a speaker as Stallone is, he's a great writer.
Is he?
Yeah, he won an Academy Award for fucking writing Rocky.
Yeah, Rocky.
All right. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
I would go so far to say that Rocky is a genuinely good movie.
I mean,
The first one. Actually, 1 through 4.
I
Fucking
mean,
great.
it's only just a Stallone story about the Bayonne Bleeder, but I mean,
Yeah.
but still.
But at the same time, like the first one is genuinely a good movie. 2 is kind of like it's just riding, the wave of the first one.
Yeah.
3 and 4 get a little hokey, get a little campy, but it's fun. It's a
Yeah.
fun.
It's meant to be
They're
fun.
hokey and campy with like glory moments.
Like how
if
can
you know what I mean?
Like anybody who says like get rid of Rocky 4, I think you're a communist. Like,
Yeah.
Stallone single-handedly ends the Cold War. Rocky ends the Cold War.
Yeah.
It's great. It's such a great scene.
Yeah.
I definitely, because it's tough. Like 2 is a wash for me.
Yeah.
And that's fine. And I'm not even consider anything past 4
No.
because we don't do that around.
Well, I
here.
mean,
I've heard great things about Creed, but like still.
well, I've seen the Creed movies. The first Creed is just you watched like a blaxploitation version of the first Rocky
Right,
movie.
right.
It's pretty
I-
much
I
like
figured that's what that was,
Like
yeah.
shot for shot, like it's Rocky, but it's just Apollo Creed's kid.
Yeah.
Creed 2. If you ever wanted a sequel to Rocky 4 and you didn't know that like what the backstory behind Ivan
that's the one that had like Ivan Drago's in it with
Yeah.
like his son or something like that.
And
it-
there's like a long drawn out scene where he's got like Rocky in like his like in the older Rocky movies.
Yeah.
Rocky's got his own like restaurant in Philadelphia.
yes, yeah, I remember that.
And he's having this sit down, like they're staring at each other, and he's telling him how he got exiled to Ukraine after that
Jesus.
fight, and it is intense. And I'm like,
And then it only got worse after that.
and I was just like, I never realized I wanted all of this backstory from Ivan Drago. This is amazing.
Okay, cool.
Ivan Drago was a great character.
Yeah.
Because I saw 5, and that was like old Rocky versus like a, I don't know. There was something with like a computer generated fight thing or something.
Oh, that was Rocky Balboa. That would be Rocky 6.
6.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Rocky 5 had Tommy the Machine Gun.
Yeah. That's
Oh,
you're
you're
thinking-
right. You're
you're
right. I had
thinking
my
of-
numbers wrong.
You're
Yeah.
thinking of Rocky 10.
No, you're right.
that's Fast and the
Rocky
Furious
7 is
2.
where he fought his
you're
own
absolutely
weight.
Right. I had my numbers wrong. Once things get into the 6 and 7s, it gets a little
Rocky
confusing.
7, or maybe it's 8, but that's the one where he fought his own weight in squirrels. And it's honestly
I think that's
my
the one that's in
that's-
production
Well,
now.
I think
That's a tough
yeah.
fight.
Rocky 7 is
is, yeah.
Adrian's revenge. I think she comes back from the dead.
Oh,
And,
no.
You know what? I might go see that one in the theater.
and then I think Rocky 10 is when he just goes to Mars to fight the Martian.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Rocky in space.
Him and Jason battling it out.
Absolutely.
The funny thing about Rocky 5 is that it's such a gut punch. It's kind of
yeah.
like Alien, what is it, Alien 3?
Resurrection.
Oh, no, the third one, because after...
The third one is the one where the xenomorph is like a dog or something like
But
that.
also, like, the end of Aliens
Oh, yeah.
is, like, completely kiboshed within, like, the
Yes.
first, like, 30
No,
seconds
30
of that
seconds.
movie.
It's destroyed.
And so Rocky
Yeah.
5, it literally starts with the end of Rocky 4. Like, Rocky wins.
Yes.
He's such a hero, but he's
Yeah.
back. He's back in the medic. And he's just going, like... He's just getting like he doesn't feel right. The
Right,
doctor's
right.
like, you can never fight again.
Yeah.
and then,
that's where like the brain damage part comes in.
It
Yeah.
gets super
How
depressing.
real that is
Yeah.
for Sylvester Stallone.
And then I can't remember the name of the character, but he loses all of Rocky's money in a Ponzi
Paulie.
scheme.
Oh,
Paulie, thank
Paulie,
you.
yeah.
And so he loses all of Rocky's money in a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
He's got to move back to like downtown shitty Philadelphia.
And they still have they show the robot in it.
yeah.
Briefly, like they're selling the robot. It's like fucking Tony Stark giving a fucking fire sale on all his garbage.
I forgot it. Yeah,
The
that
fucking
one,
robot,
That
God
movie
damn it.
was Rocky 5 was depressing as shit.
Yeah.
It's just like oof.
And then it doesn't even end with a traditional fight in the ring that Rocky can redeem himself.
No.
He just gets into a street fight with
Yeah.
Tommy
with
the
the
Machine
kid.
Gun. Yeah.
In my brain, that's the street fight movie.
And then he
Yeah.
punches
How I
out.
categorize it. Yeah.
They have this weird Don King parody.
Yes.
And he just punches him at the end. He's like, sue me or whatever. And that's how
Yeah.
the movie ends.
Yeah.
Sue me for what?
Yeah.
Because he's like poor at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that one was rough.
Yeah, that's
rough.
Which one did Mickey die in?
That's the third one.
That's the third one with
yeah.
Clubber Lang?
Yeah, Clubber Lang.
And you know, to his credit,
that was sad.
Yeah, Mr. Tay kind of. He's a great foil in that movie.
Yeah,
He's
he
a
was
great foil in that movie. You also get Thunder Lips in that movie.
Oh yeah. That's what
Hogan.
Yes.
we can't talk about it too much, but that's what launched Hulk Hogan in
Yeah.
terms of wrestling.
Yeah.
I thought he was already big.
No. It was that was actually kind of what got him over in Minnesota.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No, that was like the
weird.
push. That was like, yeah.
Over the top, as it were.
Oh, you
Well,
dirty
let's talk
dog,
about
you.
that movie. It's got big rigs, and it's got a father and son tale, like Dutch.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's
Remember
enlightening.
Dutch with Ed O'Neill?
I remember.
That
I
is a
don't
good
care.
movie.
That is a great movie.
Yeah, I love that movie.
Yeah.
I just want to talk about Dutch.
Dutch is just a poor man's planes, trains, and automobiles.
Yes. No, it is. It is.
Yeah, that's fair. The thought experiment of which one would you get rid of reminds me, and it's a conversation for another day. But since it's on my mind, which actor, or generally, you take a film and you replace every character in it. Every individual actor with an actor of your choosing.
Oh,
And
it's
they
gonna be the
play
Muppets.
Every single role. We've had this conversation before. I think.
Schindler's List with the Muppets.
Yeah, so you just basically take a film, like Schindler's List, apparently, and every character is replaced by
Muppets.
By Muppets. I guess you would have to
Respective
pick.
Muppet,
You have
yeah.
to pick a Muppet though, or you could replace every character. Every one of the characters is played by. I usually go with Daniel Day-Lewis because he's very versatile. I feel like that's where I would like to go with it at some point. That's a future episode though.
I need at least 2 Muppets for Schindler's List,
Why?
just for the dynamics.
I'm
I want Sweetums as the playing the Germans, and I want Kermit the Frog as what the fuck was his name?
Schindler?
Liam Neeson? Which person from...
He doesn't know.
I don't
He's not familiar with Schindler's List. The entirety of what he was saying was based around no one asking any questions.
That's how I always thought.
Who? The girl in the red dress? What are we doing? Who's playing?
The pianist?
Oh, there's a lot of hand signals going through the air.
Yeah, I don't know what's
It makes me
happening.
confused.
Yeah,
But
very confused.
yeah, no, I like that study, and we can do that in the future.
Yeah.
But so I just want to understand, it's that every person is played by the same actor.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
you basically you take a film.
Yeah.
And probably you have to Dan to kind of make this work. But yeah, you take a film and you replace every one of the roles.
Yeah.
They're all played by
Gary
a
Oldman.
given actor. It's probably Gary Oldman. that is one of them. And basically the gist of it would be, can you still make that movie well? That's the thing.
okay.
Can it still be done well?
Yeah,
It's
so
not
we'll do
just
that-
about can it be done. 'cause
We'll do
obviously
it in the
can be done.
future, and let's think about it, because I think that's fun.
Yeah, you pick 5 movies, and then we pick who should be everyone in.
They're
each one.
playing the women, the men, the kids, the dog, whatever you
Oh,
gotta
and
do.
Willem Dafoe's getting in there somewhere.
That's fair. Yeah, absolutely.
We think we need to have some skin in the game. Like you have to pick
Yeah.
a movie that you genuinely care about.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
you
that's
can't
fair.
Just, yeah,
Yeah,
You can't
like
ju- it
a
can't just
movie
be-
that you love.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a movie that you love. So if you do anything to harm it, you'll feel bad.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
I'll give you the thought process, and this is not my choice, but just as the thought process, I immediately went to Enemy at the Gate, and Ron Perlman.
Wow. All of the roles. I love that.
He's already in that movie, so it's like, that's not my final answer, but that's
Yeah.
where my immediate stupid brain went.
My immediate thought, and this just happened now. I've played this
Yeah.
game in my mind a million times. This
Yeah.
never came up before, but since we were discussing it, Apocalypse Now, Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
It is such a different film. It's not the movie that I love. It's not the movie that I want, and it's not the movie that I want to show to other
smell
people.
of napalm
Yeah,
in the
exactly,
morning,
yeah.
motherfucker.
I love the motherfucking smell of napalm.
But yeah, let's all think about this. We'll revisit this a little bit down the road.
Well, while we think about it,
Yeah.
we can move on to our next topic.
Yes.
gentlemen. So a traditional date, you take a woman to the movies, maybe buy her a drink and dinner.
Does it have to be a woman?
I mean,
Can it
if
be a
you're-
dog?
It doesn't matter if that's what you're into.
Whatever you're into.
That just got real
Oliver,
weird.
whatever your name is.
Dog can't consent though, so.
Well, I mean, they do it with their eyes, then.
Oh, this is just
Wait,
so wrong.
a
Same
dog,
as women
a
do.
dog could find drugs in my car and say they're drugs, but they can't consent?
Yeah, it's called sniffing.
I don't know.
Brave New World. Yes, please, Dan, usher us into the next.
So, I mean, the funny thing about introducing this topic to this podcast is we have someone that's married and someone that's engaged. So you're not doing a whole bunch of dating, although you.
I mean, I have some horror stories I can share if we really get into it.
But in that aspect, you guys can share some sage wisdom with the audience. What to avoid, what to do.
Is it sage? You know what? That's fine. Just go ahead.
I mean, he's got the beard of a sage.
Yeah, he does have a sage beard.
You come to me for advice quite often, especially in.
I come to you so that we can
means
burn
of the
some of
heart.
that sage beard in the house to get rid of evil spirits, and you goddamn know that.
Gravity's a bitch.
I don't know how that works, but.
So yeah, we could just talk about like horror stories on dates.
Dating.
To quote Van Halen, my love lost a darn disgrace. So I got plenty of those.
Well, we ain't talking about love.
All right, so I mean, I just got engaged, but I've been with Christina for about 6-7 years now. So I've been a little bit out of. I have no good stories. These are all gonna be horrifically embarrassing for me. I just realized. Yeah, dating's tough, and I'll speak for myself because I'm a monster person. But oh god, how do you even transition to this? Well, you can't.
She was dead when I found her.
Taking notes. Okay. All right. When I speak to Tim, my lawyer, on Tuesday, I'll put that.
Don't say anything to
Tim the
incriminate.
Enchanter?
Oh no, sorry. Can you cut that out? No, I mean, listen, dating's tough, man. Especially, this is also coming from like an older, definitely a position of where I am now. It's like you're two people trying to mash your lives together. And my style of dating into like coexisting and all that shit like that, I'm a very like independent person. You can be independent. I have had many friends that are incredibly codependent. Like those are those relationships where you're together non-stop. And like I've been in those relationships and those were a nightmare for me.
Yeah, that wouldn't work for me.
I mean, I'm talking like years and years and years ago, but if I got laid, there were some sacrifices I fucking made, even if I was annoyed as fuck.
We do a lot of things for what we want.
Yeah, this is gonna get really deep and dark if we really let this go off the rails. And I feel like I'm leading this in a weird way, but yeah, it's a hard thing.
Putting me to work, huh?
Yeah.
This isn't even a segment. Nobody's going to hear this.
Listen. When you're young and dumb, you do dumb shit. It comes with the territory. And there's so much shit that goes into it. You as an individual, you think about your own perception. You try to act cool. You want to be liked.
Project.
You project a lot.
There's a lot of airs that are put on.
You're talking probably a lot of hyperbole and stuff like that.
I just do that with you guys.
I do that literally all the time.
Yeah, I know.
Literally?
Literally. I just did it just there.
Yeah, dating is the best and worst part of life, I think, if I were to reflect on it. I did so many things that were within character and so many things that were so far out of my own character just because, like, you just want to be accepted. And, like, whatever the case may be, whether it's, like, you have a great time with that person or the sex is great or whatever the case may be, you try to alter perceptions. And I'm way out of that game now, but it's fucking brutal.
Well,
And when I look back
nobody
on it,
wants to be rejected.
No,
Like, even if you're not, even if you want to reject that person,
Yeah.
you don't want to be the one rejected.
Absolutely.
So you try to do everything you can so you're not in that position.
yeah.
I would argue that there's like an aspect of dating. The natural romantic and sexual aspect of it necessarily involves an intimacy with another person, which you do not inherently have to have with just a friend.
Exactly right.
And if you had to interact with your friends of the same sex or otherwise in the same way, it's going to lead to more conflict than otherwise.
Yep.
With you guys, we can walk away from each other at any moment when somebody begins to annoy somebody else, and you're not invested in the same type of way. When you involve that sexual romantic aspect, then you're involving this higher level of interaction. And you're going to have more conflict.
Exactly right.
And that's why there's more projection and things like. You don't have to do that with just a friend.
It's also a higher level of intimacy when you're with your partner than you are with like your friends or even
I would hope so.
That's not true. We cuddle all the time.
No, I'm not even talking about the sexual nature. I'm just talking about a higher level of intimacy. Like you give more of your secrets to your.
Excuse me. Do you not feel the way I feel?
Probably not.
I need to know right now.
I numb myself.
And you have no
quite
time to
I'm
frequently.
trying to hold it together. I just need to know.
There's
You also
this-
have no time to figure out how to say that right.
there's
so you're going to say it wrong.
There's
and I
this
will
twine
be
that I
upset
know
with you for that.
it holds. It holds.
You
steadfast.
still are my sweet boy.
Aw.
Sweet
It's only
summer
because of
child.
your flavor catcher you got on your face, but that's all right. But it's tough. Like, listen, you put up a big front. Like, what I figured out, because I've been with Chris for like 7 years, what it gave me was like freedom to actually be myself, to not put up a front. You know what I mean? Not to like showcase yourself as something you actually like are.
I feel like that's a key
Or
aspect.
make
Yeah.
you better.
of-
so
Yeah,
you
yeah.
don't do those things that you actually are.
Yeah, exactly right.
Relationships intrinsically involve some level of manipulation because human relationships involve that. You know?
That's how we are.
It's
Everything
how
is
people-
manipulation.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. And that can be healthy and positive.
Right.
And it can be negative. on the
Absolutely
flip
right.
side. Absolutely. But you should be able to, you figure in a healthy relationship, for the most part, you're able to be yourself.
Right.
People seek that. And so when it isn't available to you, you try to create it. And by trying to create it, you will presumably fail in that endeavor if it isn't already there in the first place. Which goes back to that, the broader question of how do people form relationships from the get-go kind of scenario.
Correct.
Which is all too fucking complicated for me, which is why I never really dated.
I'll just blast up like back in the day because like I never knew what I wanted. I wanted to be independent because that's very much, and that's why Christine and I work so well because we're very independent people. We coexist very well because we know how to leave each other alone.
Yeah.
When it matters. Back in the day, I would go against my nature and be with people that were like very codependent.
Yeah.
And as much as it drove me insane, it sucks to be lonely.
Yeah. No, that's an aspect of the
Yeah.
human condition. And going back to a point that you just made, it's that people intrinsically always want contradictory things.
Absolutely.
People want their independence. They want to be alone, but they also never want to be alone. They want to always have somebody around. They also want somebody to validate what they do. You always want contradictory things. Every person is the same way, not just in terms of their personal relationships and their politics and their views. Everybody is a hypocrite to a degree, some way, shape, or another. It seems to be that relationships that function well are ones where people have a commonality with that, where they share that essentially. They want that codependency sometimes, and then other times they want to be alone. And by whatever it is that unfolds between those people, they enjoy those things at the same time, whether it's like a syncing up thing or it's a coincidental, it happens at the same time kind of scenario.
It's quite literally the most brazen game of hypocrisy that you could play.
Exactly. Yeah.
And especially I only know my own experiences, and like I was I was like a ping pong ball bouncing off the wall between what I wanted. There's expectations, and like especially with dating, it's like you don't want to waste time. You can waste time with somebody that's fun if you both are understanding in the way that like this is going to be fun. It's not going to go anywhere.
You're just banging.
No, exactly right. But if you're going to pursue something, then like all these questions come into mind that are like real life questions. If you're going to pursue what could be a lifelong relationship. Now you got to figure out shit like, do you want children? Like, what do you feel about this? How do you feel about that? How's your family? How's my family? Can they exist together? Can we exist together? And it's wild. I never found great success, and like I wasn't mad at that. I bounced around a lot, and like I truly don't feel any regrets about the way I dated.
All's well that ends
No,
well.
100%.
Yeah.
But no, like really, it's a tough thing because like you do not know who you are, really. And that's like kind of the biggest problem. When you're young and dumb, especially like say you're hanging out in like the bar culture or whatever the case may be, it's like everything's well and good and you make allowances that typically just go against, your personal modus operandi because you just don't want to be alone tonight.
But even as a human, you're constantly changing. So even when you're in a long-term relationship, you want to find somebody who's also changing in the same way. When you're together for a long time,
Or someone
chances are
adaptable.
you're going to be your roads are going to converge at a certain point, and it's just going to be that kind of road.
You are absolutely
But
right, yes.
You got to find, like, do you want to go down? Because thinking back on some of the girls that I've dated, I am so glad I didn't fucking converge any roads, because goddamn. That was stupid.
Well, I mean, like the listeners will not understand this. What you guys that are here will understand is I used to chase crazy like a motherfucker.
Oh, yeah.
It was my favorite.
Crazy's fun.
Because it is fun, and it's not only is it fun, it's dangerous, like legitimately dangerous.
It's the reason everybody likes to bungee jump.
There's a fun crazy. There's also just a toxic crazy. That can seem fun at first.
They both present the same up front.
And toxic crazy is fun in
It
its
is.
own
Yeah,
way.
you don't realize
what you're talking
it's
about is
toxic
danger,
until
yeah.
it's like, oh, I'm in it.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit.
The
I
unfortunate
gotta get
thing, and
out.
I'm only speaking for myself, but you don't realize you're in danger until all of a sudden you're in a car and a drug deal's going on, and you're like, Ralphie, I'm in danger.
Yeah. I mean, to use Moses saying a bungee jumping analogy, you don't realize you're in danger until you fucking jump.
Well, it's
And
like,
now
I
you
knew
can't just get back on the platform.
I knew I smoked a PCP. I don't know how I wound up in Newark.
Yeah.
But like, I had a lot of fun back in the day, but I was always lonely. I was always lonely because I was an independent person. So like, when a girl would get like close, like, oh, let's hang out and watch a movie, I'm like, no, I want to fucking do something completely dumber than that and not with you.
Yeah.
And like, that's me, you know? And it's like, so I did that forever. And like, there were girls that tagged along with me. And I'm sorry you did that. I know you'll never listen to this, but like, I'm sorry you did that.
As long as they don't work for the gas company, I think you're safe.
You never know.
You truly never know. One might.
Shout out.
Well, I mean, the podcast is in danger. If they don't work.
No, I love those gas guys.
No, that's what I mean. That's our audience.
But like,
Guys, subscribe.
subscribe. Yeah.
Hit the like button.
I had the benefit of when I was young and dumb of being like, I still had my hair and like I was still quasi attractive and shit and like
days.
I think you're very handsome, Jeff.
No, thank you. Basically, it's like I floundered a lot and had a lot of fun times, but also had like wickedly horrible, like, I wouldn't even call them breakups, but separations, if you know what I mean. And it was just, I never knew what I wanted until
you find it.
No, yeah, exactly right. And like, because like Christina and I, like when we first got together, we were together for a summer, and then she was still in grad school and went away, and I was confused about shit. So like, we fully separated for a whole 9 months, and then when the next summer came around,
That's when she wanted that D.
She straight up came back around and was like, I'm going to put up with your bullshit and show you that you're an idiot and show you that there's like a good way to life. And like,
I feel like when you've got a very dominant personality like that, and what have you, sometimes that is that's valuable in a short term, what you're describing, and in a long term as well.
Yeah.
You know, because the bottom line is that if you're too fucking cocky and proud and so on and so forth, I mean, relationships are intrinsically about some level of balance, and that has to be the way that it is.
Yeah.
You know? Otherwise, you're just fucking. You're all on the
any
gas.
relationship.
Well, it's really-
whether
That's what I mean.
intimate or not.
Friendships are like that too.
It's
you know?
truly, well, yeah, as you get older, you realize like your friendships, your romantic relations, partnerships, whatever you want to call them, it's all about like respecting that person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, you kind of find what actually matters. You have to work well together.
Yeah.
Like truly, top to bottom. And you'll fight and do all those things.
Fighting
and
is a
disagree.
positive aspect
but
of any
like,
Yeah, it's
relationship.
looked
can't be-
frowned upon, but it is a good thing
It's
because
frowned upon as a cultural
as long
thing,
as you
but
do it in a way that it's
respectfully.
not.
Yeah, you can
yeah.
fight with someone respectfully.
It's got to also be constructive. You can't
100%.
just start
Well, that's
swinging.
true.
But that
Yeah.
goes back to the respect thing. The
Yeah.
bottom line is that any given, two people, larger group of people, whatever, you're going to disagree about things, which
Yeah.
is good because if you always agree, then obviously you're really not learning much.
It's not really, and like,
And
I'll
you're
be
not
the-
growing.
No, and I'll be the first to admit, like, Christina and I don't fight much at all. But like, if it comes to it, yeah, we have hard discussions because you have to have that shit, and that's where it made the difference. It took me to be like in my young 30s to realize, like, oh, it's not a weird exchange of this bullshit of what we want from each other. It's actually like learning to actually coexist with each other's stuff.
How can I
I
accommodate?
think nowadays it's harder because everybody is like free to just say whatever the fuck they want on like the comment section.
Well, how that would
And,
go,
like,
yeah.
you know, so everybody's
You've got
like,
people
oh,
with
I just-
podcasts just saying whatever the fuck they want. It's
Yeah, well,
ridiculous.
nobody says anything on ours. Chime in.
So let me jump in here and ask a question real quick.
Please, Dan, yeah.
Because you guys are talking about fighting.
Yeah.
So what do you think about winning the argument, winning the fight?
Nobody
Is that-
ever.
No,
well,
I
nobody
don't know.
wins, but everybody wins. It all depends on how the fight goes.
It's
Like,
a-
if you
well-
learn something from it, even if you were in the wrong, then you're still winning in a sense.
I
But-
disagree. I disagree with the wording. I don't think that we used it in a colloquial sense, but I don't think that it should necessarily be like, I know what a fight is, obviously, but it shouldn't necessarily like a conversation between two people where they disagree. We call it a fight when it's a little heated, but
sure.
it shouldn't. And like you shouldn't. Not you shouldn't, but it's not a fight when the two people love and respect each other.
Well, that's also why I phrased it in argument and fight.
Yeah.
Because arguments do become fights.
They
can.
also,
They absolutely can.
It's a nuance of the words.
And there's also individuals in relationships that just want to win the argument, win the fight.
That's not and I would say that that's not healthy.
But there's also those that are fine with losing. Are just like, okay, like they just don't want to argue, so they're just like, oh, you're right.
Well, but it's like, for
that doesn't help
example,
either.
I've argued with you guys about all sorts of shit, but an argument or a debate is not about being right. So I don't think that there is a right or a wrong. You could disagree, and it could even be factual. But the point of it is that I try not to argue with anybody that I care about or love.
Because ultimately,
to be right. That's not the point.
You have to come to an understanding. It's not about being right or wrong.
Yeah.
You have to come to a mutual understanding.
Yeah. I want you to understand why I feel this way.
Fights are about
feel
right and
differently.
wrong.
Yeah. So where are we disagreeing? How do we?
Right.
Where is the middle
Sometimes
ground
it's just
here?
fun to argue.
I mean, you sound like a Valley girl, but all right.
I'd love to get your wife in here someday.
Oh yeah. And Nancy would have some shit to say.
Oh no, thank you. I've been shamed enough. I've been shamed enough by Cowboy Carlson.
Hold on, we've got Nancy on the line right now. I'm gonna get you on speaker.
Secret caller.
So this is my last episode.
The funny thing about it, too, is we can totally take calls.
I know. But I mean, the reality is, like, if you care about your relationship, it's not about being right. If you are in a relationship and you feel like you got to be right, you're the problem.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And there's also a thing,
friendship, romantic, whatever.
Yeah.
There's a thing about it, too. It's, do you want to be, because we're talking about relationships here, do you want to be in a relationship with a loser? Because if you're winning every single fight because you've beaten them down in every single argument, then you've just turned your partner.
It fosters resentment.
Yeah. They're going to be bitter. They're going to be resentful.
Some people, it's so shitty and cliche to say, but like, you got to kind of like match your personalities.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You got to build each other up.
Yeah.
And if you're just a domineering person that's like putting somebody in the fucking mud and they're not saying anything to you.
I would say that that's also like, I completely agree with what you said, but it's like, I would say that that's true of, in general, the way in which, the way that I try at least to interact with the world is that I don't need to be right, but I'll debate anybody. But in terms of how you interact with your person, your actual, like your romantic relationship, it transcends to that as well. But you definitely need more of a camaraderie with that type of thinking and so on and so forth. Any relationship, because I mean, it's lack of words in the English language, but all of these things are relationships. A friendship is a relationship, so on and so forth. And the bottom line is that my opinion would be that if you need to be right, then that's your own shortcoming, essentially.
That's on you.
Yeah.
And you need to figure that shit out.
Yeah. It's nice to, if you're having a debate with somebody and it's like fucking, let's see who was correct about, whatever.
Like, there's nothing wrong with a debate if everybody's on the same term.
Yeah. Yeah. And you respect the other person, which I feel like I wouldn't want to go into something where my main goal is for the other person to feel defeated. Because if you love and respect that person, again, romantic, friendship,
it's very
whatever.
juvenile.
Yeah. I mean, even a fucking stranger at the bar. Like, I'm not trying to fucking make you feel small. It's just a debate. That's all that it is. It doesn't need to be more complicated than that.
Things like when you're young and dumb, things are simple because you don't really think about things like that, how other people feel or where they're coming from and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think as I've grown older, it's easier just because of that, where you realize like none of this fucking matters. Why am I?
Well, you're a British troll, so.
Yeah, absolutely. And what do you mean as you've grown older? You've been fucking like 60 for fucking 40 years.
Yeah, well, but I'm not doing that Benjamin Button thing.
I still don't know what that means.
Well, you'll watch it one day.
One day.
And then you can come find me, whatever mountaintop that I'm sitting on.
Wow.
Yeah.
But
I'll just retire to the hills.
Ultimately, what it comes down to is just like nothing's easy. You got to do work and you got to think about it.
Oh, yeah. Love is a labor. Like, it's a cliche fucking phrase, but it is. You got to work if you want it.
In the nature of dating or relationships, you're trying to mash together two very different lives. And the older you get, the more different your lives are going to be.
Yeah, regardless of how similar they are,
right.
They're still vastly different.
We are products of, our upbringing, our environment, and all these things. So it's
yeah.
And it's tough. If you're really strong-headed, I get it. You know, you always think you're right, but often, like, listen, we're humans. We're not always right.
Yeah.
We've never been right once.
No.
Yeah. And intrinsically, no matter what it is that you're arguing, no matter what, you're at least a bit wrong. That's
always.
That's an
always.
aspect of being alive.
Always.
There's no absolutes in anything.
Well, that's
certainly not in relationships.
So, guys, let's take this back to the dating aspect.
Sure.
What do you guys think of online dating? You know,
That's
there's a bunch of
shit.
Like finding your match online, it seems fine because at least there's some sort of algorithm and science to it.
I messed around
to a degree
years ago.
Science.
I'll absolutely admit
There's no
this.
science to that.
Years ago, I'll absolutely admit I played around with one of those things. What was
Grindr.com?
No, no. That's between you and I.
Sounds
sorry.
hot.
That is how we met.
Yeah.
You don't play on Grindr.
That's all that I did, Dan.
No. It's serious business.
But I fucked around at certain points with like Plenty of Fish and like OkCupid many years ago.
Wasn't Plenty of Fish like the Craigslist of just sexual encounters?
It was the free one. It was the free one, yeah. And, well, you could go into, like, misconnections and, like, casual encounters on Craigslist back in the day.
Yeah.
And that's not even mentioned Backpage. But,
That's where the action was.
yeah. But, yeah, I messed around with that to an extent. It never worked really in my favor. I had some interesting nights, probably a 50-50 split between interesting in a good way and interesting in a stressful way. Never really worked out for me, and that's fine. I found that ultimately, and like, I know there are people that like met their like spouse and stuff through like things like that, and God bless you. But for me, no, never worked. I always, because the famous story of Christina found me in her cousin's front yard, which is absolutely true. And so I didn't have to do much work in that one. So thankfully, I tried. I did, because like loneliness sucks. As a person that I'm not a gregarious person. Like, I love my friends and I love the people I know. And it's always fun to, like, hang out at the bar and stuff like that. But I'm not that bro dude that would just walk up to chicks. That was never my style.
Right.
I was always in the background, and I'd always, if I was drunk enough, I'd make some crazy shit, and sometimes it worked out, but that was never my way.
Yeah.
You don't make, like, actual interpersonal connections over the internet. Which is tough.
Yeah,
because,
that would be my sentiment about it as well.
Because,
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, because it was, what I was about to say was going to be a throwaway thing. It would probably incriminate me some bullshit.
You have to correct for that. I've been on plenty of dates.
Sure.
That I've gone through like dating apps and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, it can be awkward as shit. You have to find like a person that is very personable.
Yes.
Because if you are introverted in any shape, way, or form, it's going to be awkward. So you find yourself
It's the story of my life.
asking that other person like a ton of questions.
Yeah.
And then that person is shy, so it just comes across as a job interview.
Yeah.
And you're like,
This is
holy
Spanish Inquisition, and it's just like,
I've been on several, many. Well, I'd say
Can
many.
you tell me
dates like
three reasons that you chose to come to this date tonight?
Yeah.
I mean, at a certain point, we're down to that question because you keep giving me one-word answers.
I also believe that you can tell very quickly in person if you will have any chance of
you
like,
could
spark
sense
with a person.
somebody. You could sense somebody's
Immediately.
kind of like being.
Right. And like as a fairly reserved person myself, I've always gravitated to like people that are fairly women that are fairly gregarious, and that fills the void for me because I don't have to do that much work.
That's the cliche of that people complete you and things like that. People are naturally drawn towards things that they internally think that they lack.
That's
whether
why they
they're
say
conscious of it or
like
not.
opposites attract.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
one's
There's a
filling
million
in for what the other
cliches
doesn't.
about it that sum it up in a phrase. But yeah, the truth of it is valid that people are very much so drawn to the things that they internally believe that they lack.
Yeah, no, it's wild. It's the Wild West out there when you're dating. I mean, I don't care what age you are. It's always the Wild West.
It seems more crazy now. Like just from like what I see on Facebook.
I'm out of the game for 7 years, and you're out of the game for like
12, at least over 12 years.
I mean, it is crazy because I'm single. I'm still trying. And I've literally gone on dates where I've had like a Schulze-Nitzen type thought process where I'm thinking, how did I get myself into hell at this moment?
Yeah.
I'll actually share this story. She was a nice girl, nothing wrong with her. She lived in Jersey City. I fucking hate Jersey City.
No, I can understand that.
And so what ended up happening, I'm familiar with the northern Jersey area. So I'm going up there, and I've already set up for a proper date. We're going to meet up at...
box of condoms, bottle of Old Harbor.
A box of friends, a box of condoms, we're good, right?
Spermicide.
It's got that warming sensation.
So... get it all set up. We're going to meet somewhere in North Jersey, away from Jersey City, because I do not want to go.
That's a fantastic move.
I think that's what everybody's hope for is in Jersey City, is to one day get out of Jersey City.
One day I'll meet a man who gets me out of here.
She calls me up. I'm driving. I don't want to say too much, but she calls me up, and she's had like some sort of personal issue. So she's like, I am not in the mood to be around people. So can you come to my place and we'll watch movie and like eat takeout? And I'm like, and I'm not an idiot.
Oh, I have a commiserating story I can share with you after.
Either she wants to bang or you're getting robbed.
Yeah. So like, well,
Can it be both?
roll the dice, and let's say like if she wants to bang, we'll bang, and then it'll be fun. I have to figure out Jersey City, and I've driven there many times, but it's always a new adventure.
It's always different.
Yeah.
It changes, I think.
It's a freaking urban labyrinth. Like, I hate it. It's an urban death maze.
It truly is.
It's like that,
And if you turn down the right alley, the Minotaur will come and wreck your shit.
It's absolutely dreadful. So I park. She has to.
What's there?
She has to tell me how to get into her like apartment complex, because it's not very like. It's
not user friendly.
Yeah, it's not like there's no way to tell, because like all.
Is this a euphemism for sex, or is this literal?
No, I'm literally driving to her apartment complex. Do you think apartment complex is a euphemism for her box?
I mean, I don't know. I'm a colorful person.
Oh, she told me to go to the back.
You know he speaks in Greek when he's trying to get that out of us.
I figure out a way to park, and I just see her walk out. It looks like she's doing her laundry.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm like, oh, this is fun. And she just goes up to me and like, my Nintendo Switch and my Xbox are both broken. We can't watch any movies. We have to go find a new dock for the Switch. That takes about 2 hours.
Yeah.
Because we're going through all of these places. It's about like
And
5,
you're driving.
6. Well, she was driving, so now I'm in her car.
Oh, no, now you're
but-
captive audience.
But the two of you were driving. That adds an hour onto that time.
Yeah. And so we check out one place, they don't have it. Another place, they don't have it. And at one point, I'm in the car. I'm contemplating this whole like mission to find a Nintendo Switch dock. I'm like, how do I always seem to find myself in this
You
situation?
are very mission oriented.
And you're looking for one of the things that aren't very easy to come by.
Yeah.
Just the dock. If you're not ordering it online, I don't know where to find one of those.
Do you remember the girl that crashed into the car at the... Yes. Okay. So basically, there was this girl who I met, or who some of us met, at a concert like 15 years ago. And because she crashed into a car, I was immediately attracted to her.
Naturally.
Yeah. I love the crazy.
This looks like a car crash.
Yep,
I'm into it.
So, like, we talked, and we were like, she lived up in Fairlawn, up north of the Raritan, just barely, in the cemetery town. And so like, we talked and stuff like that. And like I go up, like this is gonna be like proper, gonna like see each other and stuff like that. I go up there that day. Her best friend gets run over by a car an hour before I show up, and it turned into 3 months of me like placating her absolute misery.
Oh my God, I would change my number. I don't want to be involved with any of that.
I wanted so hard and hated everything so much.
Yeah.
And like listen, like that sucks. Your best friend gets run over by a car a block away an hour.
That's a tough time to walk into somebody's relationship twirling a cane,
especially when it was
out.
And like I said,
That's
this
not good
was like
first
a thing.
date
I'm gonna
material.
show up. We're gonna go get lunch. It's gonna be like sexy time, kind of like unattached bullshit. And now I'm involved in this drama.
Yep.
And I'm not saying that. I'm like, but like it's just like there was no escape. I mean, I could have been an absolute dick and just like literally turned away and walked away forever. But
you can't.
I couldn't.
Yeah. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
Your parents raised you too, right?
They did. They did. But yeah, it's oh boy.
That's
boy,
a trial.
boy.
A trial and tribulation.
I'm glad I'm
ridiculous. I couldn't even imagine
retired from having to deal with new people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a bit of a trial.
I get that. Like, I'm always excited to meet new people because it's always from somebody else, and I have like nothing. I could easily walk away.
They're like children. You can just they go home with whoever they belong
whatever.
to.
I don't care.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm engaged in a fun conversation, and then I never have to talk to you again.
Oh, I don't have to think about you anymore. Here's one piece of sage advice. Get a nut off before you go out on your date.
That's fair. Don't be walking out with a loaded gun.
No, don't walk out with a loaded gun. And I don't know if this works as well for females, but I'll speak for myself. It'll make you think a lot more clear about what dumb fuck shit you're about to do.
I never think clearly.
I do think that post-nut clarity should be a discussion on this podcast, but I think that's a discussion for another time.
Yeah.
So, be sure to subscribe to this podcast, leave a 5-star review.
Get your nut off first.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're going to have the post-nut clarity to have the knowledge to subscribe to this podcast and leave a 5-star review. That way you can word it in such a poetic way that I will have no choice but to read it on the podcast.
All haikus.
Also, if you've enjoyed our voices and you nutted to that, let us know in the comments.
Nice.
Please don't.
What, OnlyFans in our future? What are you talking about?
I don't know. Anything is in our
Moses
future.
is married. He's getting lonely now. You know how things
No,
change
I
over
actually
time.
told Nancy that I'm selling my feet on OnlyFans now.
Am I
weird.
She's like, fine.
Dan, take us out of here.
Am I going to have to create an OnlyFans account for the show?
Maybe.
Check us out on YouTube and Rumble. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Keep an eye out on that OnlyFans page.
Those gas guys are weird. Love you.
You can also follow us on social media. We are at Loud and Drunk. Get on to this conversation because, it went all over the place towards the end.
And get off to our voices.
Yeah, get off on our voices and get in on the discussion.
Tune in and tune out.
We are on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Locals, and hopefully only those platforms. If you enjoyed this podcast, but not in a sexual way, then think about contributing to us on Locals, because that would be what the OnlyFans account is for. So, Moses, do you have any closing thoughts?
I think I'm quoting this right. It was Gil Haran who said the orgasms will not be televised.
Wow. Nice. It's weird.
I'm flabbergasted.
Yeah, I don't even know what that means.
Justin, closing thoughts.
I just drained the pipes.
Oh, there you go.
And Mr. Oakley, closing thoughts.
I have nothing to add, to be quite honest with you. I just hope that everybody had a good, wholesome time.
Hide your kids, hide your wife.
We're nutting all over the place.
We're going to have to hose down this fucking recording studio.
We love you,
Oh,
fucks.
man. Where is that squeegee?
So, for Justin, Moses, and Mr. Oakley, I'm producer Dan. Thank you so much for joining us, and until next time, this is Loud and Drunk.